In continuation with the discussions we are having for AWS Cloud Practitioner course, we will be discussing about the storage solutions provided by AWS, and it is the primary solution given by AWS. So we are talking about AWS S3. That stands for Simple Storage Service, and I will be navigating through AWS S3 in our discussion today, and then we will be discussing about the storage classes also. What are the different storage classes applicable to AWS S3 objects, and what are the default storage classes, and what factors ultimately decides that you can see over the screen: availability, durability, storage cost, and frequency. So these are the key points that I want to go over in this discussion. So I'll start with the navigation that I just wanted to see over here. So in services, if we can see, we have under storage different services, right? So we will be selecting S3, and that will ultimately take uh, to the S3 management console over here. So the root level folders, we call them as buckets in AWS S3, and we can create a bucket, right? And the bucket name will definitely be set according to certain validation standards, right? I will be going over them one by one. Let's say, so bucket name must not be empty. There's the first, I mean, we need to have certain name given to the bucket, and it cannot start with a capital uppercase letter. Okay. Bucket name must start with a lowercase letter or a number. Okay. So we can start, and then the length should be minimum 3 characters, right? And it can go up to 63 characters. So again, it is throwing the validation must not contain any uppercase characters. So I'll say 1 to 3 trail data, right? And I will choose a certain region. I say Mumbai, and then I will click on next. And another thing that I want to show over here is we cannot give a name to a bucket that has already been taken. So let's say if I name my bucket as sample and I click on next, it will throw error, bucket name already exists. That means under different AWS accounts, if someone has already taken up the name and sample for the bucket, I cannot create it. So it is very similar to the concept of domain names, right? If certain domain is already taken up, we cannot have the same domain as address for our website, right? So it is very simple. So we need to create a different name over here. I can go back and say 1 to 3 trail data, right? I click on next, and these are certain properties. We can set versioning, we can set server access logging, right? Object level logging. We won't be discussing this in our present discussion. So I'll be clicking on next. We can set the permissions, right? We can manage users, right? Access like trail data, the current root account is having full permissions, right? Read, write, and then we can click on next. And so bucket name, right? The region where I'm creating that bucket, and all the other options that are disabled for now, we won't be discussing. And I say create bucket. So I will be able to see my bucket. This is my root level folder, and I say the region as Asia Pacific Mumbai. So it is located there, right? And the date created, as you can see. And if I go inside, right, I can create subfolders. Now I can create a folder, and I can say, okay, when you create a folder, uh, let's say trail data, and I say, okay, so I have subfolder over here, and then I can definitely upload certain file, any file, right? I can upload that. So it is as simple as that. And then there are, once you have uploaded, you can download, you can change the storage class. So let's try to add some files over here. I say, okay, I will and I will upload this file. Okay, I say upload. So this gets uploaded with the storage class as standard. So this is their default storage class that we'll be having. And then, I have certain options. I can perform any actions. I can download, I can change the storage class, right? So I can set it to standard infrequent access, right? Reduce redundancy, isn't it? So these are different storage classes that we will be discussing anyway. And so then, of course, I can delete. I can definitely delete it. And yes, I have my root folder, isn't it? That is called as bucket, and then I have my subfolders. So I can definitely create as many as subfolders, as many files I can have in those folders, isn't it? So it is very simple from that perspective. So I will be, then we can always you know another thing that I want to show is these are the tabs that we have here, right? So versioning, server access logging, right? These all things that we were discussing when we were creating. So you can, so we have the permissions tab also, then we have management, you know these are all advanced topics that we can discuss later on. So for now, this is what I wanted to discuss. So I can definitely delete the subfolder, isn't it? We can delete it, and that's it. This bucket is empty. Upload new objects to get started. And let's say if I want to go back and I say, if I want, and I can say, okay, these are other functions that we can perform, right? Thank you guys, and we will be continuing with the storage class in our next discussion. Thank you.